check. All right. Almost ready. Salute to all my people in the chat already. Just got to make sure everything is live, ready to go. So let me see right here. Let me see. Okay, Facebook is on. YouTube is on. Twitch is on. And Twitter is on. That's good. All right. Okay, let's make the switch right now. Yeah, we cool. We're good. No need to panic, fellas. No need to panic. Setting up, and we're about done. We're good. We're good. We're good. We're good. All right. Let me see where I'm going to place this. I think this will be fine. Cool. All right, let's get the shout outs in. Do I like the darkness here? Yeah, I'm cool with it. I'm cool. I'm cool. Just one quick check. Let me see if I ever move to info, if the audio is there. Yes, that's okay. Same here. That's weird. Sorry about that, guys. I'll do the shout out again. Oh, I get it. Yeah, my bad. No, I'm not stepping on the cable, fellas or ladies. So just to be sure, let me shout y'all out again. Here we go. RC3, K2, Beathound, Sven, Danny, Callisto Sound. Who else was here? I saw Candace, CB or Cy B is in the building. DJ Waves is here. And Mixmaster G is here. Curtis is here. Salute to you. Who else? Big V is in the building. Creeps is here. And DJ Respacy is here as well. All right, let me start at the top. Let's try to stay in there. First question. Well, the first question is, how was the weather in Amsterdam today? DJ-related questions. Nah, the weather was okay. We're going to get some good weather in a couple of days. It's getting better. Temperature's rising a little bit. Still a little bit of rain today. A lot of wind, but we good. So RC3 has the first DJ-related question right here. Is there a way to switch between profiles with the same audio card in OBS? Actually, no, let me turn this down. To switch between profiles with the same audio card in OBS. Switch between profiles. So to be honest, I mean, I use OBS, but it's not like I'm the OBS expert. So I'm now thinking about profiles because I know scenes and sources. I haven't used profiles in OBS yet. So am I missing something when you say profiles? So RC3, let me know, because or someone in the chat holla back as well. Because I'm not sure about profiles. I've never done anything with profiles in OBS, so I'm not sure. Stu Young says the best all-in-one DJ mixer for about $1,500. So what do you mean when you say all-in-one? Are you talking about a mixer for DVS, so a mixer that also has the audio interface in there so you can use it with your DJ software? Or are you talking about an all-in-one DJ player? Otherwise, I'm not sure what an all-in-one DJ mixer would be. So let me know and let's see if you can be more specific what you're going to use it for. So is it for software? What kind of software? Add a little bit more info, especially when you want to know about what would be the best. The only way to truly answer that is to have a lot of details, because a lot of people will have different preferences. Some people will swear that a DJM 900 Nexus 2 is the best for when they're playing in a club. Who am I to tell them they're wrong? That's the best for them. And for me, I mean, I can work with it just fine, but I would always prefer something like an S9 or an S7, S11, or 72, anything like that. So we need more specifics. My favorite DJ pool for old school hip hop and R&B. Candace, it's so cool. This is a question we see every week, every single week. And I still don't have a right answer for it because I just don't check all DJ pools. I just know a lot of DJ pools just don't have a lot of old school hip hop and R&B. I think one of the reasons is they might just not have the licenses for it, because DJ pools are mostly there to promote new music. Like, even if they have the deals with the labels, which is the only way to do it legit, a DJ pool is supposed to be there to promote music. So they provide promo copies for DJs. And it doesn't really make sense to have promo copies for records that came out 20 years ago, even 15 years ago, 10 years ago. So now, of course, you have DJ pools that have been around for quite some time, and they'll have an archive that might go back. But it's not like a lot of DJ pools can just add old school music, and when they do, it's probably not legal. And I've heard about DJ pools now actually having to like get rid of some of that stuff. So I'm not sure. I remember Beat Junkies used to have some old school in there. I'm not sure if they still do because I haven't used them in quite a while. And so I'm not sure. That's why I prefer, for stuff like that, I prefer to use streaming services. So for instance, on Monday during my live stream, I was using BeatSource and Tidal. So for instance, if I want to do some old school stuff, like BeatSource will have a lot. If they don't have it, Tidal will. And that allows me to play any type of stuff. Chris on the mix is here. Carmen Santiago is here. DJ Wave says, have you had a chance to check out Serato 2.55 and how do you like it? The latest version I have, is that 2.55 or just 2.5? I believe I'm on the latest version. I haven't looked into the specifics. I mean, I've been playing with the latest version and it's working just fine. So for me, it seems to be working. Brandon Darden is here. What's good? Do you buy higher cost XLR cables? Go with the bottom of the barrel or something in between? Okay. So for instance, here, the XLR cables I'm using now for this microphone, I think are pretty average. I don't do a lot of audio recording except for this type of audio recording, and I haven't had any issues. Now, if I was to start recording or I wanted to record something and I wanted to make sure that I'm recording in the highest possible quality, then I would want to make sure I get a high quality XLR cable. So there is a possibility that your XLR cable can improve your audio quality if you get the highest quality. I'm not sure how big of a difference it's going to be between cheap and really expensive, or if you just go somewhere in between, if it's still that good. I've never really looked into it, but I could see if you have like high-end equipment, high-end microphones, high-end systems, and you want to record to a high-end audio interface, it will be a waste if you don't use high-quality cables. I don't really do a lot of that type of audio recording. This works fine for me. But I mean, I would probably not go for the bottom of the barrel with most of my equipment and cables. So at least somewhere in between. But I mean, you should really check online and see if there's like good reviews for, let's say, budget cables that are good quality. There are people out there testing all of that. DJ GQ, good question. I'm starting to implement colors now. So the question is, how do you use colors to help organize? That's something I'm looking into now when I'm doing my tagging and sorting in Rekordbox to also add color. But I haven't done that before. Queen Caesar is here. As always, salute to you. What type of stand do you use for your overhead camera view? It's I use some stuff by Elgato. So I have an Elgato multi-mount and flex mount that I use. Is there one in? No, they're all out of screen. And there's one more. So right now, the setup I'm using now for the streams, I'm gonna film that actually this week. I'm using a big tripod, a high tripod, and I have one of those Elgato arms attached to it with a couple of the multi-mount parts to get it in the right place. If you look up Elgato multi-mount or flex mount multi-mount, you'll see what I'm talking about. Now, there's not one I can take down right now, so I'll film that this week. Sven, I got your video. I still have to check it, so I haven't seen it yet. No, but I've seen it, so I know it arrived. Ryan Waldron wants to know, have you produced any music? Yes, I have. I actually played, I think, three or four of my tracks that I produced during Monday's live stream. So I make beats. I make beats that I use for my content. So sometimes for my tutorials, if you hear me using music on my YouTube channel, it's going to be beats that I made. Now, beat making and producing is not the same thing, but I make beats. Sometimes I also produce for artists. I was actually just working on some music before I started. That's actually the reason why I started late. I was basically having too much fun making beats. So yes, I have. Mostly for Brainpower, the artist that I work with, but also for a couple of different artists. DJ Gometti is here. Salute to you. Watson Way is here. Salute. DJ on the ones and twos. Callisto Sound wants to know, what are the audio and video and audio devices you're using? You said it before, but I forgot. Roadmaster something. Yeah. So Different devices. I use a lot of different stuff, but mostly for my setups, like the setup I have here. I'm using a pod mic that I have right here. This case with a cover on it. I like that better when I'm recording like close proximity. When I'm DJing, a lot of times I don't have that on there. I don't like the look of this, but this does improve the audio a little bit. A pod mic by Rode, and that microphone is going into my Rodecaster Pro. Okay, I actually have to do this for a second to make sure you can actually see it. Yes. So that is the Rodecaster Pro. That's what I'm sending that microphone to. And that is connected to the computer via USB. It's a great device for podcasting because you can also record on the device. Now, mind you, if I wouldn't have that device, I would just connect this microphone to my audio interface to connect it to the computer. Because basically when I'm live streaming, I just need to make sure anything I want to do audio and video wise is connected to the computer. So the Rodecaster Pro, that's what I use a lot. And for the video, I use a video switcher by Blackmagic Design called the ATEM Mini Pro. And should be able to get that up as well. Where's that cable going? Okay, maybe I can't. Let's see. Is that stuck behind something? Okay, I can't lift it any further. But that's the ATEM Mini Pro. That's my video switcher. Cooler Soul, what's up? And okay, CB, I'm getting to your question. I can answer that actually now. How are you getting on with tidying up your tracks and crates? Slow. So no real progress. It's going to take a ton of time. Whenever I have some time, I'll take a look at some songs, try to sort some out. But that's going to take quite a while for me to get that. Not done. Done is going to be like years, but in working condition, it's going to take quite some time still. Sven wants to know, when is a song old school song? And I like the question because for a lot of people, that's a different description. Depending on how old you are, how long you've been listening to music. So for some, if you're, let's say you're 25 right now, 24. When you first started to go to parties as a teenager, you were whatever, like 16, maybe 14, maybe 18, but whatever. Like that is when it started for you. If you're now 25, 18 or 16 seems like a very long time ago. So for you, that's music when you were young, and that could be something you consider to be old school. For me, music that's 9 years ago feels like yesterday. I don't know if there's a specific rule for that. If you could say, like, if a song is 10 years old, then it's old school. I don't know if there's really a rule like that. So different DJs will have a different perspective on that. I think if you go back like 10 years, that's a pretty long time for your club crowd, because most likely they're not going to be that old. So for them, 10 years, 15 years is quite a long time. When I hear old school and throwback, I automatically start to think of like the 90s, late 80s, the 90s, early 2000s. But we're in 2021. So a song from 2010 is also already 11 years ago, and that's pretty old. So different DJs will give you a different answer for that. Queen Season wants to know, was there a lot of troubleshooting that you had to do for your very first Twitch stream, like audio quality, video settings, adjustments in OBS? I don't want to say every time, but a lot of times. So, yeah, I had troubleshooting that I had to do the first time. I had troubleshooting that I had to do the second time, third time. Mostly because I use different setups. So if you have one streaming setup, you just set it up and then it's good to go. Then you're not going to run into as many issues. But because I'm always experimenting, doing stuff. So for instance, what happened here just now with the no audio, I didn't really have to troubleshoot because I understood what it is. But what actually happened is I switched scenes and I switched to a scene. And in that scene, the audio input for the microphone wasn't activated. So I didn't realize it was off. So when I switched the scene, I continue to talk, and all of a sudden you don't hear anything. Small things like that will happen, especially when you first start to work with stuff. And I'm still experimenting with different scenes, adding stuff, adding layers. Then one time I'll do something and I'll use an audio input that I have for something else. Then the next time I have my normal stream, but I forgot to set that back to the normal setting. So then all of a sudden stuff's not working and you're like, wait a minute, why is it not working now? So you continue to troubleshoot basically. And the more you experiment, the more you learn. So when things go wrong, it won't take you that long to figure out what actually happened. In the beginning, yeah, sometimes you're like, why is it not working? And I mean, the lives are still online. There's been a bunch of live sessions where something just didn't work and I couldn't figure out what it was. Either it took me till after the stream, or later on in the stream to find out, like, okay, this is what I did wrong. But if you have one setup, same thing with the equipment. I use a lot of different DJ equipment, sometimes different computers, and there's always little things that you might forget because I'll run into the studio and then I have to set up, but I'm using a different setup, and now I start playing. And there's no audio, and I'm like, oh, okay, I switched mixers, but I forgot to send the output from the mixer to my A10 Mini Pro to get audio to OBS. Those things will happen every time. Yeah, so that's it. Oh, yeah, indeed, by the way, about Serato, I saw the email, the newest update, and they improved that audio streaming feature in it, right? I haven't tested that yet. Jules, what's up? 2 years ago or something like that, you planned a strict regime for yourself. You also made behind-the-scenes footage, and at one moment, you completely stopped that regime and took another route. What happened? Too much to go into now. If I want to give that a really short answer, I would say life happened. That's the shortest explanation I can give you now. If I understand, if I think I know what you're talking about. And of course, the last year has been something totally different for most of us, indeed. I'm actually really happy they reopened the gyms last week. That was something I was looking forward to. I tried to do the workout thing at home. Just didn't really work for me. I mean, I did a little bit of that, but I really prefer the gym. So I'm really happy they're open again. I actually switched gyms to go to a gym that's open 24/7, which really fits in better with my planning because it allows me to go different times. Like I go freakishly early now. So I've been working out at 5 a.m. every morning now. So I work out before I have to like get kids ready for school, that type of stuff. You do have to adjust your rhythm a little bit, but I'm really, really, really happy with the fact that that is now a thing again. But beyond that, it's too much non-DJ related stuff. That's why I say life happened. A lot of more personal stuff. So not really for the live stream. Megawatt the DJ is here with the good vibes. J1's the DJ. Thank you for that follow. And Brandon wants to know if money wasn't limited, what would be your setup? DJ setup? Let's assume it's DJ setup. I would say that the DJ setup is basically the same as what I have now. Probably it will be the S11 instead of my S9 or 72. But 2 turntables, phase, S11. That's it. So, yeah, not much I can add to that. Now, let me add one thing. If money wasn't limited, I would also have a CDJ 3000 setup with a scratch mixer. I love those players, and those are really expensive. So that would be cool. But beyond that, it's not like I see equipment that I would really like that I don't have now that will really add something to what I'm doing. Let's see. K Mace 91 wants to know my best advice for new DJs. Wow, best advice for new DJs. Well, first off, just have fun with it. Start playing. Start having fun with it, and just play. So at home, but just play, practice, play. That's where it all begins. See if you really like it. So I don't want to get into actually like advice like how to get gigs and anything like that for new DJs. Nah, just have fun with it now. Just have fun with it. Explore, discover your music, and learn the fundamentals. Start there. And no, you definitely do not really need a Mac. So you can use a Windows-based laptop as well. Yes, most definitely. For instance, the live streams I've been doing the last couple of months. No, not even the last couple of months. All of the live streams since last year, September or whatever, when I really started to get into mixing on Twitch, was all Windows. And at the moment, it's still all Windows. Before that, I was using Mac as well. Before that, I was using Windows. Before that, I was using Mac. And before that, I was using Windows. So they both work. Megawatt, it is safe to assume that I have to make that video. So I do not have a real podcast setup video. I've talked about it in a lot of live streams. Some of that or those live streams are online where I talk about the setup, but not a specific video yet. Let's see. Beathound wants to know, can you walk me through the process of recording scratches for tracks? For example, the Dunsplot scratches. How do you decide what scratches you use and what they sound like? Do you use multiple takes in the final result, or is it just one go? Multiple takes a lot of times, depending on how many scratches you're doing. So here's the thing. So for instance, when it comes to Dunsplot, Brainpower is very specific. He knows what he wants. So for a lot of the scratches I've done, he would already have an idea of what kind of sample he wanted me to use. So a lot of times that will be maybe a sample of a voice saying something. A lot of times his own voice, because that's just a sample clearance thing. It's really cool to get those primo type of scratch hooks where you're using all of these sentences from records, but you have to clear that. So for his records, we would always use like his vocals. And for instance, for Dunsplot, he knew he wanted to have an old school type of feel. So he basically wanted to have, he described basically the Transformer scratch. Like he wanted to hear like a Transformer type of vibe. And the sound I'm using is an acapella from a Brainpower track. So again, no clearing. And then, of course, I just go and do my thing. But he had the idea. And for a lot of the other tracks I did for him, he would be like, he would know like, hey, I would like a couple of scratches maybe at the end of the track using this sentence right here. Okay. Then I go at it. What I do is I'll, first off, I'll just put the beat on loop. And I'll just start playing around. Just to find scratches that would fit. Because every beat is going to be different tempo, different vibe. So I have to find out what works. For some tracks, I have to be very subtle with my scratches. So in that case, I'm not going to go all out. Keep it subtle. And when I had to do that, for instance, I thought that adding an echo would sound good because I'm just adding very subtle scratches. But to give them a little more body, you add the echo so it still fills up a little bit more. But I start to play around. And then when it's time to record, what I'll do is I'll just set a loop and I'll have it record, and it will record a bunch of takes. So I can record over that loop. When it goes back to the beginning, it continues to record on a new track. And I'll do that like 3, 4, 5, sometimes 6, 7 times. And then I'll check. Now, sometimes I'll have one take where basically everything sounds great or good. And then I'll just check if there is like a doper piece in one of the other takes that would make it better. Sometimes I'll do a take And I can already hear like, okay, that first part sucked. But I'll continue because maybe the second part will be good. And then I already know, okay, for the next take, I really have to try to get that first part right. So it is definitely a multi-take thing. Would not make a lot of sense for me to feel like I have to do it in one take because you're recording something for a track, for an album. You want to make sure you get it done right. It's a lot easier nowadays. Like the Dunsplot scratches and other scratches from that era were recorded in the studio when we were still recording on tape. So they had to like rewind the tape for me to do certain things again. Takes a little bit longer than doing it on a computer. But yeah, that is my process. You can see a little bit of that on YouTube. I have a video where I've recorded some scratches for a song, a Moomba Team Brainpower track. So I think if you look on my YouTube channel and on my channel page, you hit the search and you look for recording scratches, you should find that video. And then you see me record multiple takes. Nevik, what could be the issue when my Serato DJ L and then you have a number code? I don't know what that means. I have no idea what that means. DJ Oz is here. Salute, DJ Oz. How do you avoid feed background loop noise on your live feed? I currently haven't had that issue. Maybe you're just blasting speakers too loud. You're getting the feedback back through your microphone, you mean? If that's what you mean, then I don't have that issue, but I don't play very loud in the studio. That might be it. So Oz, let me know. Is that what you're talking about? Like feedback through, is your microphone catching everything, or is that not what you meant? Side B says, I got to send you big love and thanks. Your YouTube video taught me how to beat, match, and scratch about 5 years ago. Okay, Side B. Dope. Got you. Dope. That's great to hear. Lewis Brown says, I hear try 30 years. That might have something to do with the old school topic. Nevik wants to know, what could be the issue when my Serato DJ Pro isn't backing data up on exit? Does it never do it or just sometimes? Because my Serato doesn't always do that. It just asks me to update the library if I haven't done that for a while. I think the other times it just closes. So I'm not sure. What's the best way to make sure my computer is sufficiently backed up? I would say make sure you have backups on external drives. If possible, make a copy of that external drive or those external drives and have those in a different location. And if you can do on top of that, cloud backup. Like, I mean, I don't think there's such a thing as like backing up too much. So like I said, I have for certain files. So if we're talking about my personal files, and with my personal files, I even include my music collection, but like personal videos and photos. So my kids, all of that stuff, and my music collection. I have that on an external drive here. I have a copy of that external drive at another location. And I have a cloud backup. So in that case, I can be sure I'm not losing my kids' videos and photos. I love my music collection, but that's not even the important part. I would not want to all of a sudden not have like my kids, my boys' first steps that I have on video, losing videos like that. So backing up as much as possible. Sven says, yeah, for me, old school is 90s, early 2000s. For example, all I do is win. DJ Khaled is by the 10 years definition old school. But for me, it still feels like a modern song. I understand what you're talking about because of the era that it's from. It has a sound that is different than the sound that we had in the 90s and maybe early 2000s. But I mean, old school can't be defined just by that sound, because you got to imagine people who grew up earlier than us, they also have old school music. But when they say old school, they're talking about when they were listening to their soul and funk. They were talking about when they were listening to their James Brown and any artist from that era. For some, like the 70s is old school. For some, even like 60s or 50s. So it can't be defined just by the sound either, or it can't be defined by the sound. So Mixmaster G says always duplicate the audio interface if you create a new scene. Yeah, so like the question by RC3 about the profiles, I also have to assume he was talking about scenes because I don't know about profiles. And yes, so in my case, when I make scenes, I have to make sure. So for instance, for these live streams, I have a bunch of different overlays in the scene. Also overlays that you don't actually see, but the overlays that will give you the sound alert or add emotes, stuff like that. If I make a new scene, I have to make sure I add all of those, or just be aware, okay, if I'm in this scene, I won't have this, that, and that. Same thing with the audio, same thing with the video feed. You have to add it to all of those scenes. But if you meant something different with profiles, I would love to know. All right. Ryan Waldron says, any advice on how to extend IG live time? I can only stream for 10 minutes at a time. I want to stream for longer. Ooh, no idea. I haven't used IG Live for DJing, but I have to say I did IG Live once or twice for to share the knowledge, and I would have it on like for most of the stream, so way longer than 10 minutes. So I don't know what that is about. If that is a thing with the type of account that you have or something in the settings, I don't have enough experience with IG Live to tell you about that. Fly DJ Eli is here. Salute. Odd question, but what type of desk are you using to perform your home sets on? That is not an odd question at all. That's a great question. I mean, a lot of us are DJing from home using desks, and why not? So the desk is called, I would have to say, Skarsta, if I'm not mistaken. It's an IKEA desk, and it's a desk that you can adjust in height. So I think the lowest is 70 centimeters, and it goes all the way up to 120 centimeters, if I'm not mistaken. This is the same one. This is just a bigger version. So the version I'm using for DJing now was my old studio desk, but that was a little bit too small for everything I want to have on my studio desk. So this is a bigger version. I think the one I'm using for DJing now, I think that was like 149. And I think this one is like 189. So you adjust it by hand, so it's not one of those where you just press a button and it goes up and down. This like has a wrench on the side that you take out. I can actually show you with this one. And then you go up. So you get an extra workout as well. There you go. So Skarsta, I think, is the name. So that's great because I can use it in a desk situation if I want to DJ or if I want to work behind the desk but I want to stand, I can just bring it up. And it's pretty steady. It holds pretty well. And I think the price is okay for what you get. It's a nice, stable, strong table. Can hold all of the equipment. So yes. D-Blink, salute to you. Art of PHN wants to know any thoughts on adding a foot pedal to your DJ setup. Wah-wah pedal or something. Yeah, I mean, it could be cool if you're doing stuff that would be interesting to have it. So for me, it was never a thing. Like there's been a lot of mixers that have had that option to add like a foot pedal. And for those that are not familiar with foot pedal would allow you to trigger something on the device so you could have it under the table. Like guitar players have foot pedals, which they use to trigger something like a wah-wah effect for their electric guitar. You could use that for certain equipment as well, like DJ equipment. So I've never seen the need for something like that unless you're really into doing a lot with your setup, and it will require you or will make it easier for you to be able to trigger a certain something without actually having to touch it. So you could be, for instance, let's say you're doing a juggle or something like that. During a juggle, you can't really activate effects while you're already doing something. So if you could do that and with your foot, you could trigger something, I could see the use for that. It's just not for me. Brandon wants to know, has your opinion on virtual DJ changed since your last virtual DJ video? I don't believe I've ever made a virtual DJ video, but I would have to assume the video you're referring to is a video where I did sort of a comparison between Serato Tractor and virtual DJ, but it wasn't really with, yeah, that's the video. That has to be the video where I was looking at the philosophy behind the DJ software, where I felt, and this is an old video indeed, where you could tell like Serato was really aiming at, if we're talking DVS, but was really aiming at more of the turntable/turntablist DJs, where it seemed that Tractor was aiming more at the DJ/producer musician, just by the type of equipment they were releasing. And with virtual DJ, I had some critique when it came to their philosophy as it was stated on their website, which covered DJing in a way that I didn't really agree with. Made it sound a little bit too easy. I don't even remember what it exactly said. Again, this is an old video. I do know, and I've stated that over the years, like many times, that virtual DJ has a lot in it. It has a lot of features. I still need to test it, but I've seen what you can do with it. But I won't have a proper opinion until I really use it. Toby wants to know, he stopped mixing 5 years ago. Is there a decent budget scratch mixer out now? I believe there's a couple. I don't have experience with them though. One is the Numark. Help me out in the chat. Is that the Numark Scratch? Isn't that what it's just called? I believe that's pretty decent when it comes to the budget. I think there's a couple more actually. I would have to look it up. Super the Way? Is that the name? Salute to you. Let's see. Arta PHN. Also, I'm having trouble coming up with scratch patterns. Just doing a bunch of babies and chirps to the rhythm. None of it sounds terribly musical. That's something you build up, though. That's just something you build up. Like, the more techniques you add to your skill set, the more options you'll have when it comes to doing different patterns. I'm, for one, am not really someone who's ever been into, like, practicing patterns, which could actually be a good thing, especially for more difficult scratches. So whenever I scratch this freestyle, and I'll always fall back on the scratches I know, which is a limitation, and I want to still expand that. But I just know, like, anytime I learn a new scratch, then you start to implement that into your patterns. So if right now you're at the baby and chirp stage, just with those, you can do a lot of patterns, though. But I would assume that that means that you're still kind of in a beginning stage. But you say none of it sounds terribly musical, and you should be able to make babies and chirps sound musical. But that just comes with time. You just need to put in that practice, or probably more time than you're doing now, because I don't know how much you practice and how long you've been doing it. Ryan says, my mom said my sister's Mac didn't last her a year. Okay. Well, something must have been wrong with it, I have to assume, because a laptop should last longer than a year. Would you recommend a gaming laptop for a DJ laptop? I mean, it's going to be powerful enough, that's for sure. Like, if you get a good gaming laptop that can do a lot more than just DJ, you could use that for video editing and stuff like that as well. So would I recommend it? I would recommend just getting a laptop that has the right specifications and is strong enough, like a good build quality. So a gaming laptop for just DJing is not really what you need, because a lot of times it will have like a pretty powerful graphics card. And if you're just DJing, you don't really need that. So you don't want to be paying for stuff if you don't actually need it. Now, if you want to use that laptop for streaming, then a better graphics card can help you out. If you also want to do editing, it can help you out. So yeah, it all depends on what you're going to do with the laptop. Do you soundproof your studio? How so? No, but I don't make a lot of noise here. So for instance, if I was really like working on beats all day, blasting music, then I would need to soundproof it. Now soundproof, just to be clear, soundproof is just to make sure the sound doesn't get out so other people hear it. That's not the same as sound treatment for your studio to get a better representation from your speakers. So that's a different thing. I haven't done that either, so this is not a great monitoring space at all, the way it is now. But for me, it's very workable now. But I don't blast my music, so I don't need to soundproof. But if I wanted to work at any time of day and night and make more sound, create more sound, then I would have to soundproof everything. But I just don't need to now, luckily, because that's going to cost me extra. And if I want to soundproof it well, then it means that the room is going to get smaller, because then I'm going to have to add an extra layer, extra wall, put the isolation in there. That's going to make this space even smaller. I wouldn't want to have that happen now. Sydney Kendrick, salute to you. I have a Roland 808 with 2 Pioneer 505 tables with Serato DJ vinyl. Do you have a tutorial for this? No, not for that specific setup. No. Is there anything specific you want to know? Let me know that. And also for people, if you have a question and you feel that it's too long or you don't want to ask it here now, you can always send me an email, stk@djtlm.com. stk@djtlm.com. K-Mace wants to know, do you spin from an external drive? No, I don't. I always want to have the music on the actual computer. It works from an external hard drive. I've done it in the past. I did notice that sometimes you had to deal with like a delay when loading a new track, that it would take like a little bit longer. But no, I normally have the music that I play on the computer I'm using to play. Unless, of course, I'm using a streaming source. Let's see, what's this? Queen Caesar says, I may be having the same issue as DJ Oz. I'm running internal audio through an interface for the stream, but the audio in the stream is picking up noise from outside in addition to my music. So noise from outside, I would say, okay, you're already saying, I think my audio interface is using the mic. Maybe something like that is happening, that it's somehow activated like the mic on your laptop, and that is now picking up sound or something like that. Well, I'm not sure. Indeed. To be honest, TLM, you need to dive into profiles. It's best described as scene folders so that you can switch between different setups. Okay, if that's what it means, I got you. Yeah. Haven't really needed to, though, up until now, because most of the time I'm using the same setup. The only thing I have to do is basically change my my image. So right now we're in this share the knowledge layout, but the layouts for crates is going to be the same. So all I have to do, if I want to now switch to my crates look and turn off the STK, and now we're in crate. So before I start, I just switch that image and then I'm good to go. Like, I could make a folder with all the same scenes I have for crates and make a separate folder with those same scenes, but they will all have the STK image loaded. Right now, yeah, no need for that. If I would have like totally different setups, all with totally different type of equipment and needs, then profiles will be something that works. If I'm doing my certified bangers, it's the same thing. Like I can just take that out, put certified bangers in, and I'm good to go. So for now, that is not something that I've needed, but now I understand what you mean. But isn't that called a scene selection instead of profile? Like it could be me, but I don't remember seeing. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Okay. Show profile folder. Yeah, it is there. Got you. Yeah, I've actually done that before, and after that, I didn't change profiles anymore, and I'm just doing everything in one profile. But yeah, I see what it is now. Excuse Squad is here. Salute to you. And let's see. So that's it. Like the change between the live stream, I see you say it now. Like it will completely fix your changing between podcast and DJing mode. Yeah, I mean, it's a very limited change that I have to do. Just the image file is the only thing I need to change because the rest of the setup now is the same. If I would get into a mode where I would have like a specific layout for the DJing, and I will probably do that at a certain point and have a totally different type of layout for this, then it would be better to have different profiles. Like right now, I'm not doing that. I have the exact same setups, like, so it's working for me now. But I understand. Philip wants to know, what do you recommend for beginners in terms of DJ consoles? Let's say, I mean, there's a lot of great entry level controllers. Like if you're just starting out, I would not spend too much money, because first you should really find out if this is something you want to do long term. And you can find great entry level controllers from Pioneer and from Newmark, even Hercules now, that work great. I would assume you don't need much more than a 2-channel controller with, like most entry-level controllers now actually have quite a lot of features on there. They'll have the performance pads, most likely some way to control effects, and you name it. So I wouldn't recommend a specific one, but there's a bunch from Pioneer, Newmark. Newmark, I forget what names they're rolling with now. It used to be like the Mixed Track series. I believe there's another name now as well. Pioneer still has their DDJ 400. Hercules has the Impulse 300 and 500. I think they're all like price point. They should be in the same ballpark. Sydney says, I'm using the Costco black fold-up table. Look, basically anything can work. The only thing for me was the table I was using before, it was too wobbly. Now, that doesn't really bother me for DJing because it's not like anything was skipping. But especially when you start to have more equipment attached, and I had a camera attached to it as well, and it was really wobbly. Now, even though I have a more stable table, I don't attach the cameras to the table anymore because I want to eliminate any type of movement. But the other one was just really wobbly. So if the fold-out table is steady, any table that's steady should be good enough. Is there a standard high where the controller should be? No, of course not. We're all different length. So, no. Now, some people also prefer to have their set higher or lower, so you need to find what is right for you. A lot of times in clubs, if you're on stages and they're using like these standard modules to create a booth, a lot of times they're going to be like, I believe like 110, like something like that. I've had a lot of times where I had to like use my flight cases and set the flight cases on the table and set my setup on top of that because I felt like the table was too low for me. But someone who's shorter might feel that it's a perfect height for them. Then there's also people who feel it's too high, and then actually they'll get some type of flight case, and the DJ stands on a flight case because he needs to be, or she needs to be higher. So no, there's no standard height where it should be for you. And yes, I agree. Like Beathound says, the most ergonomic is when the top of the control surface is at elbow height, so that the forearms are horizontal when DJing. And yes, that makes a lot of sense because that means that you can stand in a straight position, even though you're not going to when you're DJing. But you could stand like that, straight, and have this in the right position. You can see it when people have tables that are too low and they really have to like arch their back all the way, bend forward to reach their set. Then it's too low. Now, even when I have my set higher, but it's still, I don't stand straight, I will be kind of in attack mode. I mean, that this feels more comfortable for me. But I would try to get it at least to a height like that. And some people will have it even a little bit higher because that makes them feel comfortable. What camera are you using for the stream? And mic. So the camera I'm using for these streams is my GoPro. That's a GoPro Hero 9. And this is the pod mic, the Rode pod mic. Now, that's that microphone. I love the way it looks like this. Now, there's not a major difference in quality, but when I'm doing voiceovers and stuff like that, I will have this on because it does give it a little extra protection pop filter wise. There's a pop filter inside, but it doesn't really do enough. So if the proximity is close like this, I know this can handle the P's and stuff like that better. So pod mic, GoPro Hero 9. The lighting I'm using here currently, these are Elgato key lights. Oh, that one actually just decided to drop down. I didn't even see that. How does that look on screen? Let me move that back up again. Don't know why I did that. That's where it's supposed to be right now. So those are the Elgato key lights. Now, there's plenty of lights out there that'll work just fine. What I like about these is that they just don't take up space. I don't have a lot of space. I also used to use, and I still have one, these big soft boxes. Very cheap, very large. They take up a bunch of space. These take up basically no space. You can control them, or you have to control them using an app, which is, I don't want to say a plus. I wish they had multiple ways to control them, but you can control them from the app. So I can turn them on, off here. If I need my lighting to match the lighting on this one, I can change the color temperature to make it match. I can make it bright. It's currently at the lowest setting and the warmest setting. So for me, they work great, but they're pretty expensive. So if you're just looking for some lights, I would not say this is the first option. But they work great for me. Like the other one here, that's basically lighting me now. It's at, this one is at like 20% right now. So I could make this really bright, but I don't want to because I don't want to have like a ton of light on the back. But I really like them. And if I want to, when I start to implement my Elgato Stream Deck, I could also use that to turn them on, off, and everything. So pretty cool. DJ Eli, you want that 5 a.m. as well? Yeah, I mean, that's why I switched. When the gyms opened up, I switched. My last gym used to open up or opens up at 7. It's open from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m., which is a pretty long time. But, I mean, that doesn't work for me if I want to work out before I have to wake up the kids. That's not going to work. I won't have time to work out before. So I always had to do it after I took the kids to school. Or if I wanted to do it in the evening, it had to be before a certain time. And especially now here with the gyms opening back up, you can only go to the gym if you have an appointment. So you can't just walk in because they have to restrict the amount of people that can go in. With the 24/7 gym, I know I'm always going to be able to find a slot. And working out that early, there's never more than the most people I've seen up until this point were 5. But the other times it was like 2 or 3 people in the entire gym. Love it. You never have to wait for equipment. You can get on anything at any time. And I like the fact that I've already done that when my day begins. My day actually has to start, and I've already covered that part. So, yes. I want to be a DJ, but every time I have a gig, I get anxiety and nervous for the whole event. It's a nightmare. DJ Gringo. Okay, so wait, so you want to be a DJ, but what you're actually saying is you DJ at home, but when you get gigs, you get nervous. So you basically are already DJing. So what makes you nervous though? That would be the number one question. What is the thing that makes you nervous? What would cause that anxiety? Is it the fear of making mistakes? Because if that is what it is, that is not something you should have to worry about. Like, mistakes are normal, especially if you are a beginner DJ. You're going to make mistakes. Hell, I still make mistakes like every week when I'm DJing, like a lot of times during the live streams. Now, most people don't seem to notice, but I do. Like, I'll grab a track and I didn't know the track that well. I thought it had like a 2-beat pre-count. Turned out to be a 4-beat pre-count, so I missed, and I had to cover it up by hitting cue points a couple of times and bringing it in. I noticed that. I continue to play. Sometimes I'll laugh and joke and say it on the mic, and people are like, hey, yo, still cool. A lot of times I do stuff and most people don't even notice it. DJs might, the rest of the crowd won't. So that'll happen. So if that is what's causing the anxiety, I would say, like, just embrace the mistakes. Just know that happens, and that's all good. People don't really care that much. Like, the crowd, normal people are not judging a DJ for its technical for the technical abilities. They're just not. They don't care. You could do the greatest blends in the world. Most of the crowd doesn't even notice. It's unfortunate that that's the case, but also if you're a beginner, that's actually can help you out. Like, they're not really focused that much. So if you totally train wreck, they'll hear it. And even then, if you throw in a hit after that, they'll still continue to dance, drink, and do whatever. Elemental says Newmark and Reloop. Yeah, Reloop also has some great entry-level controllers. I forgot about Reloop. Yeah, Chris on the mix. You have the Newmark Scratch. That's not an expensive mixer, right? Sydney wants to know, I'm new to Serato. Is there, or do you have a tutorial for this Serato madness? I have a tutorial series, but it's a Serato Scratch Live tutorial series. And that is pretty old because Serato since then moved on to Serato DJ. There's some similarities, but there's a lot of differences as well. Like, Serato added a lot of things since Serato Scratch Live. So you could take a look at that on my channel, my Serato Scratch Live tutorial series. Maybe you do catch something you can use, but I do need to make an updated version. Elemental just got the S11. Congratulations. Love it. Do Rain have a Scratch controller? Well, I don't think there's such a thing as a Scratch controller. Like, you can scratch with controllers. So in that case, I would say yes. For instance, the ones I have, the Rain 12s, are controllers, and they're great for scratching. If you want an all-in-one device, they have the Rain 1 with moving platters, which is also great for scratching. So I would say yes. Okay. Follow up from PHN about the scratching combos. I can do a bunch of scratches independently outside of chirps and babies. It's just I don't know how to link them together. See, in that case, that is where practice really comes in. And DJ Shorty, when she was on Cleveland Terry's show, she gave a bunch of incredible tips when it comes to scratch practicing. And one thing she did say is, like, when you go in for a practice session, have a goal in mind and really focus on that thing. So for you, I would say just do a practice session and just decide, like, okay, today I'm going to do combos where I do my babies and one of those other scratches, Just strictly focus on how can I get this to work? Because sometimes that is the difficult part. How do you make a transition from one scratch technique to another scratch technique, especially if that other scratch technique might mean that you have to do a totally different fader movement? How do you switch from this fader movement to a totally different fader movement? The hand movement switches as well. But don't do 1,000 things in a practice session. Just say, okay, baby and whatever it is. Baby and stabs. I'm going to do baby and stabs. That's all I'm going to do. And with the stabs, you could do the stabs with your crossfader. In my case, I do stabs with my channel fader. So when I'm doing babies or chirps and I go to stabs, I have to go from crossfader to channel fader back to crossfader. However you choose to do it. Like I know a lot of DJs who don't even go to that trouble. They'll just do the stabs with the crossfader. But just do babies and then stabs. Babies, stabs. Then try chirps, stabs. And every time you choose a combo, focus just on that combo until you know how to transition between the two. Now it can become a part of your freestyle scratch regimen when you're just doing whatever, because now you know how to make that switch. So that I can understand how that could be a hard part. Like, how do you link them together? Don't try to link all of them. Take just one at a time, find a combo, and just practice that. Range 70 or 72. I always tell people I've never tried the range 70, but for me, it would still always be the 72 because I just love that screen. That's me. If you don't like the screen, get a 70. Like a chirp into a baby into a random crab. I end up looking at other people's patterns to see what works, but I just don't want to ape. So okay. Look at other people and just see what works. Do it and practice and see if you can make that work as well. Because this is not about copying someone's pattern. You need to find you need to find that click in your head when it comes to connecting scratches. Once you have that click, it's okay. Then you can form your own patterns after that. Like I said, I don't think of patterns. I just go to the moves I know and let the beat guide me. And of course, I'll repeat a lot of the same scratches. That's why I want to expand, add more techniques to what I can do now. And there's certain techniques that I can do, but I never do them in a pattern because I haven't practiced how to make the transition. So I have to find time to do that. Steve DeLeon wants to know, where can we get fresh music for these gigs now that we're gigging? DJ pools, of course. DJ pools. You can buy music as well. So like from Apple, or check out Beat Source. But I would say like DJ pools will have new music. Spinarita is here, or was here. Let's see. It's 20 minutes ago. Spinarita, salute to you. And we got LOCS on the follow. Salute to you. Ed Random is here. What do you think is a good way of going about negotiations with prices, because people want DJs but want to lowball it? Yeah, somehow people always feel that musicians and DJs are the lowest on the priority list when it comes to setting up their budget for an event. Like, I've seen that happen so many times. They'll have like all of these things, and then, oh yeah, we also need music. Hey, there's this much left for the DJ. So one thing I would say, and I'm definitely not an expert when it comes to negotiations, but you want to make sure that you probably have a number in mind, which might be your minimum, what you would accept. You have to start way higher than that. So you have to have at least a point that's higher than that. Have a high point and a low point, but that low point should not be your actual low point. It should be a little bit higher. Let's just do some kind of crazy example. Let's say you would do it for 200. Don't set 200 as your low point, because then they're going to try to still go below that. But let them know, like, hey, normally I charge, and then you give them a higher number, whatever, 5. I could maybe do this for 3, and then there's still room for negotiation. Even if they tell you, like, look, we really can't do 3, and they're going to try to lowball you, and they're going to say, maybe we can do 250, and then you're still within that range. If you tell them your lowest number straight away, that's not a great starting point. Again, I'm not an expert at negotiation, but you want to at least set a point that's higher, so that you have room to go down. And I made that mistake just to give them like my number, and that was my low number. And then they tell you like, no, we can't do that. We only have this. And if it goes that way, then it's up to you. Like, are you going to take that, or are you going to stick to your guns and be like, can't do that? In the beginning, I wanted to do every gig. So I was like, yeah, okay, I'll do it. At a certain point, you start to think like, okay, it will cost me this much for my transportation. It takes me that much when it comes to like hours, just travel time, playing, everything together. That just doesn't add up, and it doesn't make sense financially for me to do all of that just for X amount. So the numbers do have to make sense for all the time I put into this craft, all the time and money I invested into this craft. But also, like I said, I have to get there, transportation, all the time that it takes. And certain people just gave me offers, and I was like, that just does not make sense. It has to make sense at a certain point. Like when you're just starting out, I know I was like hungry for gigs too. Like I just wanted to play. I wanted to play. I didn't care about the money at all. That was never my motivation. But of course, when you get into the realm of being a paid DJ, you do have to start implementing some business sense, and it has to make sense at a certain point. August, salute to you. Raul was good. So DJ pools I currently only use DJ City. I used to use DJ City and Beat Junkies. At the moment, I'm using DJ City as my DJ pool. And besides that, if I'm using streaming services for DJing, it's mostly BeatSource with BeatSource Link. And like on Monday, I was also using Tidal just to get some extra tracks. Like the tracks I produced for Brainpower. Brainpower's catalog is not on BeatSource. They only had like a small portion of it. So the tracks I wanted to play, they didn't have them. Tidal does. So I just played them from Tidal. But the pool I'm using now at the moment is just DJ City. Beat was good. That looks kind of like Turkish, but I'm not sure. I just know I can't read it, and I don't know what it says. I can't read avocado, though, but the rest, I can't. Let's see. And Raf says the mix track FX. Yeah, mix track. That's like Newmark has a bunch in that mix track series, and some look really dope. I haven't tried any of them since the Mix Track Pro 2 or 3, but after that, they had like a ton of different ones. The Platinum and the Party. I don't know. I lost track. Mix track. Sean was good. Daughter turning 9, asking for a DJ setup to start mixing, blending songs together. Any suggestions on easy starting setups, hardware, software? Yeah, like an entry-level controller. There's a bunch of great controllers out there that are not too expensive, not too crazy. I think you might also want to look at something like we talked about, like Newmark and Pioneer having entry-level controllers. Reloop also has some entry-level controllers like the Reloop Buddy. It also depends on what you want to use. If you don't, for instance, want to have if you also need to add like a computer or a laptop, it might be a better option to look at something like Algorithm DJ, which is also DJ software, but that works with iOS. So you could have a DJ controller, a small controller like a Reloop Buddy with like an iPhone or an iPad. And that still works great. So yeah, there's a lot possible for great prices. Like a kid's room a lot of time might not be too big either, so it also depends on how much room you have. Like a Buddy is pretty small. DDJ 400 is a little bit bigger, still pretty small. So you have a lot of options out there though. So it depends. Like I said, if you also need a computer, that will cost you more. If there's already a computer there and it's just a matter of like adding that controller, then there's a ton you can use, but also realize you have iOS options as well. Nick Boy was good. Wow. The question is, what's the most difficult scratch to do in your opinion? I'm not sure. For me, My personal issue is I can do certain scratches with the right deck, certain scratches with the left deck, meaning certain scratches with my right hand on the platter, left hand on the fader. Some scratches I can do with my left hand on the platter, right hand on the fader. For me right now, the hurdle I want to overcome is being able to do both on both sides. I can do flares when I have my right hand on the deck, my left hand on the fader. I can't transform. I need to have my left hand on the deck, right hand on the fader to do transforms. But I can't really do flares when I'm in that position. That is something that can be overcome by practicing. I just haven't had time to do that. I'm sure there's a bunch of scratches out there that are incredibly difficult. I see people do scratches like that. DJ Andy has a series from scratch where he's doing all sorts of combos and crazy scratches that I, for the life of me, can't do right now because I would have to practice them. I don't even know the names to have of those. But for me, that's not the important part. I don't even care about all of the technical scratches. I'd rather be able to just scratch funky, but I want to get rid of that limitation of being on one side and now I can't do my transform. I have to be on that side. That is something I want to overcome. Beat Howd has left the building, probably already back to work. DJ DNA was good. Have you found any issues using Tidal to DJ? Currently wondering whether or not to switch over to Beat Source. No issues. The only thing I did notice so far on Monday, I spent using Beat Source and Tidal. When I switched to Tidal, and I had made a short playlist that day, and when I get into that playlist, you see none of the information until you load the songs. So with Beat Source, you just have that information straight away. Also, when making playlists, if I'm on Tidal, I don't have certain information. If I'm on Beat Source and I have an artist and I'm looking at tracks, I can instantly see BPM and key. And when I look for tracks, even if I want to add, let's say Tribe Called Quest, I'm making a playlist with all sorts of tracks from different artists, and I'm doing tracks that are within 80 to 100 BPM, whatever. I want to add some Tribe Called Quest. I can go on Beat Source to Tribe Called Quest, and then I can say when I'm seeing their tracks, filter BPM between 80 and 100. You can't do that on Tidal. You don't have that type of DJ information there. So that is one thing I really like. The only reason why I was using both is that certain things are not on Beat Source that I can find on Tidal. And both of them worked. I switched between them seamlessly. The only thing, of course, you have to do is when you switch, you first have to play one track from your computer. Because when you switch from Beat Source to Tidal, it will remove anything from Beat Source that's in your decks. So you can't be playing a track from Beat Source and while that's playing, switch to Tidal. So I had to switch twice. So I played 2 tracks from the computer, and then you could just do the switch. Chris on the mix says mistakes are fine. It's how you recover that matters the most. Yes, indeed. And don't linger when it comes to the mistake. Just keep it moving. Very important. Mad Libran was good. Is it Libran? Yeah, it is Libran. What's going on, man? Shannon, what's good? I have a question about microphone and mic volume. Years ago, I purchased a basic karaoke mic. I use only to talk occasionally, but it sounds low even when it's turned all the way up. Would a better style mic help with this? And is the volume level strictly controlled by the mic volume control or the master or booth volume control? No. So on mixers, you will have normally, if they have a microphone input, they'll have microphone level. But a microphone, it could very well be that your mic just not give a lot of volume. Certain microphones don't give a lot of volume, and even if you connect them to a mixer that can crank the volume a lot, it might not be enough. So a different microphone will make a difference for sure. Same thing here. When it comes to like live streaming and podcasting, a lot of people use a microphone by Shure called an SM7B. But when they use that, that microphone has a pretty low output. They have to add an extra device in between before connecting it to a mixer. They have to add what they call a cloud lifter that will add volume to that mic because it needs more. So it can definitely be different for different microphones, 100%. Mo Berry, good day. And Mo Fire was good. Do you scribe, write out scratch routines? No, I've never done that. I've seen this with some other DJs trying to write out their scratches with symbols and patterns. Yeah, and there's an actual like language the same way you can write music, you can write scratches. I've never done that. I'm with like my scratches are the same as my mixes. They're not prepared. I go off feeling. I do freestyle. Now, could it be something if you're into practicing certain patterns and you just want to have that laid out? Sure. But I've never done it. Same thing when I record YouTube videos. I'm not really into like having a script written out and reading the script. I write that in my head while I'm recording. And I have to record it a bunch of times until I get like a flow into my story. But that's just my preferred way of working. All right, August. Questions are coming. Oh, my bad. Let's see. How much did I just change that? Oh, that's not too bad. I thought I just gave that mic a big hit. All right, let's see. I'm having issues using Tractor Pro with my Rain 12 Mark IIs in DVS mode. And I've seen no videos on YouTube how to really get this going. Seems simple enough, but I can't get my Rain DVS and Tractor to work in unison so that I can mix using Tractor. No, it's not natively. What was that? Or the strange noise. I know it's not natively supported, but I'd like to try it out. Use Tractor Pro. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Maybe there are no videos because it's not compatible. Like I know, like it's always a little more difficult when it comes to the motorized platter controllers compared to normal controllers, as far as I understand. So I don't know. I have no idea. Let's see. It says. Mixmaster G says about the negotiation, be the first to call out a number. Once the number is spoken, it will serve as an anchor. Yeah, that's why I also said, like, make sure you get a high number out there first. That is important. Now, sometimes that just won't happen. Sometimes you will be approached, and in their approach, they'll tell you, like, hey, this is what we're doing. This is our budget. So in that case, they're trying to set their anchor. That doesn't always mean that that is really what they have, but that's how they come in. And I've had that happen as well. And in certain cases, if I assess the situation and I feel that I can make it work for that, I might say yes. But there's been plenty of occasions where people would just say, like, hey, this is our budget. And then I would just tell them, like, oh, okay, yeah. Like, I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember, of course. But what it came down to is that I would tell them, like, that's not going to work for me. This is what I normally charge. Yeah, that's great. Love to work with you in the future. Maybe I can think of someone, but I'm not sure. Like, I've had it happen at least 3-4 times that all of a sudden there was more budget. This was their budget. I told them, like, it's not going to work for me. I'm here. Now, we did not end up all the way there because I gave them the high number, but we definitely ended up where I wanted to be, which was way higher than what they first offered. So even if they do call out the number first and it's too low, that doesn't mean that you're now stuck on that number. But then you'll have to let them know. And if you tell them, like, I can't do it for that, and they'll say, like, okay, then we'll look for someone else. Cool. You know where to find me. Maybe we'll work next time. That's it. Mofire, did you miss the response to your question? Oh, okay, you dropped out. So your question was about the scratch routines. Yeah, I just talked about that for a second. I don't do that. I don't write stuff out, but I know DJs who do that, and for them it works. It's something I've never thought about doing for myself. No. DJ Deluxe is in the building. Salute to you. Need help trying to find the proper RAM memory on my PC. Let me see. Do you mean that you want to find out what is in your computer now, or which RAM you would need to add to your computer? DJ DeForce, salute. And Optimus, salute to you. Charlie Bax was good. Breda in the building. Costa Rica is here as well. I'm running 7 minutes behind for the people. Currently using my PC as a streaming platform, but I noticed some lag as I'm using Serato Video from a MacBook Pro to PC. Makes me believe that the 8 gigs is being taxed. Yeah, I would definitely up that. So depending on your computer, if you have 8 gigs, so how many memory slots do you have? Do you have 2 DIMM slots or 4? If you have 2, are those 4 gigs being taken up by 2 4-gig RAM sticks? Or is it just 1 in there? If there's 1 in there, add an extra 8. If there's 2 or 4 in there, you probably have to get them out and get at least 2 8 sticks in there, because you want to go for, I would say you would want to go for 16 gigs at least. More if possible, but 16 would be a better point than 8. 8 is probably not going to cover it. Norwegian Pilot, what's good? My favorite genre is hip-hop. Hip-hop. 1,000%. Vinyl Touch in the building, salute. And let's see, Mo Music wants to know, what mic do you suggest using with the Rain 70 mixer? There's a bunch of mics you can use. Now, I'm currently using my pod mics when I'm live streaming, but I wouldn't even say these are the mics you should go for, even though they're built like a tank and they're not that expensive. I would probably just go for a Shure, the 57 or 58 beta, the normal dynamic stage mics. They were great for doing sets as well. So price wise, I'm just not sure how much those are. I would think they're gonna be a little bit cheaper than the pod mic, but I'm not sure. But that's something you could look at. Let's see. DJ DeForce says the same thing. I would double the RAM in your PC. Yep. Mulberry lost sound and video. Okay, the sound is still here. Or I'm still here. I'm still here. Still on Twitch. Still on Twitch. I'm not sure. I'm seeing myself. What is subs? 96 Zoom was good. Subscribers, I would say as well, yeah. Or like Mo Fire is saying, if we're talking about speakers, then your subs are your subwoofers. But yeah, if it's anything online, then your subs are your subscribers. Sydney Kendrick is saying, what's up from Naptown, Indiana? Rocking at the Indy 500 this weekend. All right. Have fun. Dope. It's dope to see and hear more DJs are doing gigs. I have my first gig in first festival in September, so that's quite a while. I will have some Brainpower shows before that, and I have a little TV gig in 2 weeks. But at least things are starting to happen again, so that's pretty cool. I'm seeing more and more DJs come in with like, hey, first gigs here and there, so that's dope. Is that paying money every month? Depending on where you are. So for instance, on Twitch, and I see you're on Twitch, subscribers there, if they subscribe, that is a payment indeed. And every month a subscriber would have to resubscribe. So it's not like you subscribe and then every month like money gets taken out of your account. People have to actually manually subscribe. So I see that happen a bunch of times. If I'm not, that's what I've seen on Twitch. Like I've had subscriptions to DJs, and then at a certain point they'll tell me like, hey, your subscription just expired because the month is over. And then I have to choose if I want to subscribe again. And that's a couple of bucks. So it's not like we're talking that it's like a major money maker, unless you have some people in there who have like a couple of thousand subscribers. That starts to add up. And it's totally different from YouTube. Like a YouTube subscriber, that's free. So there's no payment there. If you want to work with a similar system on YouTube, they have an option for that. But that's just something different than us being a subscriber. I don't do that on YouTube. I have a different plan when it comes to the whole subscription thing, but that will come in the future. When you're streaming, do you have a mic running through a separate effects processing unit before the DJ mixer? If you do, what do you recommend? When I'm DJing, no. When I'm DJing, my microphone, this microphone, well, at least one just like this, it's there by the DJ set. That just goes into my DJ mixer. That's how I normally do it. I've thought about just taking the mic into the Rodecaster and recording it separately so I could have a clean audio recording of my mix without my hosting to upload. But then again, I thought like, yeah, but if I take that out, I'm still like muting the sound every now and then. I'm interacting. It is part of the actual session. So for me, for now, I'm like, nah, if I'm doing a live stream and I put that online, the audio, it's going to be including my hosting because that's how that episode went. It's working okay for me. But you could do it separately as well. Chris on the mix says there's some setting change you can make on your PC to optimize Serato's performance. Yes. And DJ DeForce says depending on purchase of the sub or gift sub or Amazon Prime sub. Yeah, there's some different ways to do it. I haven't even looked into that too much, to be honest. Queen Caesar and Mulberry are talking about Serato. You have up to 3 profiles that Serato allows you to have on separate devices. You have to deactivate one to free up one to activate it on a new device. Okay, I probably missed Mulberry's question about that then. I don't see that Mulberry question. I only saw Mulberry talking about lost sound and vid. But it's great to see Queen Caesar jumping in with the answer. Let's see, 69 Zoom. Okay, thank you. Do you need that to set that up yourself, or have you got someone who sets everything up for you? No. I have no one. This is a one-man army right here. I set up everything I do. Sometimes that means that I can only start later because I come in late and I still have to set everything up, but I have to set everything up. Every time I'm using different equipment, I have to set everything up, make sure everything's connected here, so everything's working. Yeah. August has another question. Are you familiar with the iRig stream used with the DJ MS11? From where it sits, it seems like this is not compatible as of yet to live stream to Mixcloud, so I haven't connected it yet. Reason I got it because I wanted to stream my audio directly from my mixer for better sound quality when going live. I have not used the iRig stream. In my case, my audio from my mixer goes from the mixer to my my ATEM Mini Pro, my video switcher, and then it goes into the computer. And that's working for me. I have not used iRigs yet. I know a lot of DJs who use them, but I don't know if they're using them in that combination. So I can't really speak on that, to be honest. Let's see. DJ DeForce sends the audio to an external mixer, so the recording does not have the mic. If I need to drop the volume of the music, I do it from the external mixer, so the recording is unaffected. Yep. So there's definitely, I see how that could work. But like I said, like I thought about doing that, and then I was like, okay, so if I would upload an audio replay and then people hear the music, and at certain points during live streams, I might talk for a minute or two over an instrumental. If I take that audio out, then if you listen to the audio replay, all of a sudden you hear 2 minutes of instrumental with nothing happening. Or like I said, sometimes I'll just take the volume out and say something. If you don't hear my mic, then you just hear these audio gaps. So I was like, no, the hosting is actually part of that live experience. So if you miss the live stream and you listen back, you're going to hear that. And if I want to have like a clean mix, if for instance, if I would do like a prepared mix and I'm going to stream that, then maybe I want to have a clean recording of that. Then I might do it. But then I would not touch my levels when I'm hosting. So even if I do host, I'll make sure I don't touch anything because I know I want to have a clean mix. So I'm not going to take any volume down. But at the moment, for me, this is just perfect. So I don't have to add too much equipment. Just the mic goes into the mixer goes to the computer, done. No, I'm not using the ISO. I'm using the ATEM Mini Pro. The ISO is dope as well. For live streams, I wouldn't need it. If I was doing a multi-cam recording for a YouTube video, then I would probably like that because it could do the separate recording for all cameras. But no, this works fine for me. And for a lot of people, probably the ATEM Mini would be good enough. They don't need the Pro. With the Pro, I can stream from the device itself as well, which I currently don't do, but I did it in the beginning. I was having computer issues, and I would just stream from this device, so you don't even need a computer or OBS. That is lovely. You just won't have the same amount of overlay options and stuff like that. So that following that you see on screen right now, you're not going to see that if I'm streaming from the ATEM Mini straight to Restream. Percazit Papa, appreciate that follow. And DJ Smooth G, I appreciate that follow as well. Salute to you. And we have a question as well from Smooth G. That's the issue I have. I use the Range 70, and this has the option of not having your mic come on your recording. But when I upload the set to Mixcloud, there are times when I lower the volume to talk, and people that hear them, yep, they hear the replay and they don't understand why you get that volume fluctuation because they're not hearing the hosting. So I prefer just to have it the way I streamed it. Sadek, salute to you. And like I said on Monday, I will be uploading some audio mixes. It just takes more time. Look, there's a couple of things I can do. I could just say on Mixcloud after I stream, it tells me like, hey, there's a draft, and you can just say, okay, upload. But then I have the 5 minutes of like pre-stream where you see the countdown where there's no music. That makes no sense for me. Sometimes, or like normally, I will do something to the audio. I might boost the audio before I upload. Then I have to set all the names. I have to get all the track names in there and set the time right so that you get the right track info at the right time. That just takes up more time. So it's not as simple as just saying, okay, the stream is done, and in 5 minutes I'll have an audio upload ready. But I do need to start adding more of them. The last one was Certified Bangers with DMX, so that's too long ago. Dovey Dove, I appreciate that follow. And we got Louie. What's going on, Louie? I'm good. I hope you're good as well. DJ Chris Say is here. What's good? Wagwan. Yes. Smooth G, also, I use iRig, and I have it going out from my main output from the mixer into USB computer, set the audio input capture to iRig. Okay, and that's working for you, right? Like I said, I know a lot of people use iRig. I personally just haven't used them yet. I'll probably have to reach out to them, see if I can test one of them. Just because I know a lot of people have heard the name, but and there should be plenty of videos about iRigs online. But I would like to test a lot of the new stuff. There's another one as well. Damn it, now I forgot the name. I talked to them for a sec. I still need to email them. Another company with some sort of device that does, I think, the same thing as iRig. Let's see. Vinyl Touch says, does the talkover function handle that only on the master and the booth is unaffected? Great question. I don't use the talkover. personally, I don't like not to have control. And with that talk over, like I hear it, the volume will like duck, but it takes like a second longer to come back. I'm not a fan of it personally. I just like to use my fader. Sometimes I'll just talk over the volume as is. Sometimes I like to lower it like I'm playing live. If I'm playing live and I'm in a club, I'm doing that same thing. I'll never use a talk over. I'll use that fader. Let's see. Did you have someone helping you with feedback with your audio and video once you were on Twitch? Like if you didn't have sound, or how did you go about adjusting everything on your own once you were live? There are streams online where I'm working and all of a sudden something goes wrong, and then I have to like find out what it is live during the stream. So yeah, sometimes the troubleshooting will have to happen while you're playing. Sometimes something happens and y'all can't see, and then I'll try to fix it without talking about it. But for instance, one thing that's happened during the last 3 streams now, and I'm going to find a different solution for it. I was using hotkeys in OBS to switch scenes, and I was using a key combination, and it turned out that the key combinations I was using were also affecting something in Serato. I was like, all of a sudden I lost sound because I had a hotkey in OBS, but that hotkey also changed my wireless, my deck from wireless to internal, so the playback would stop. I changed the hotkeys last time I was playing, and one of the hotkeys somehow takes off and turns on the loop. So I'm like, okay. That happens during the stream, and then I have to troubleshoot. Now, in that case, I'll just stop using that, and I use my mouse, and I have a big monitor in the back, the TV that you see there. I have OBS on there. I have a wireless mouse next to my set, and I'll switch scenes that way. But I do want to just go for a Stream Deck, I think, instead of some keypad and special hotkeys. I'd rather have that dedicated device. Let's see. Abraham G was good. Let's see. Mixmaster G says, if you want to test iRig, then test the Behringer. Yeah, you've talked about that. A couple of people have talked about that. The Behringer, the UCA 222. It's a very affordable little audio interface, and for it seems to work for a lot of people, indeed. Is there a template? GMZ was good. Is there an auto sync for FL Studio? An auto sync for FL Studio. I haven't used FL Studio, so I cannot not speak on that at all. I'm sorry. Yeah, and working on the fly, Smooth G, indeed. And yeah, that's my thing. The Stream Deck has been on my mind for quite some time. I mean, they've been around for a long time. MoFi says Stream Deck for the win. And I was like, cool. Then Rode did an update for the Rodecaster Pro where I can now use the pads also as in MIDI to switch scenes. And it worked, but it also meant that I would have to have my Rodecaster Pro there. It takes up a lot of space. I wasn't feeling it too much. Plus, when it's in that mode, I can't trigger the samples at the same time. I was like, I don't know if I want to do that. Plus, when you use that, you do have to have a separate little app on the computer open to route what you're doing on that Rodecaster Pro to translate that for OBS. I was like, cool, it works. Same thing with the keyboard. I would have my normal keyboard next to my set and do some hotkey combos. Yes, it works. It's just not the same thing. Like having a Stream Deck, being able to switch scenes at the same time, do stuff with my light, send out a message, all of that. I do want to go for that. So that is an upcoming thing. Now I probably will go for the normal Stream Deck. There's also the Mini. It's cheaper, but it's like I think I prefer to have a little bit more on it so I can actually control a little bit more from the device. So yeah, Stream Deck. That is on my that's on my want list for sure. Queen Caesar says, yeah, because I'm trying to go live and get my first Twitch stream going, but I'm having to troubleshoot everything on my own. It's overwhelming because it's so much, but it's all payoff. So first thing I would suggest is start as basic as possible. So for instance, if you're using OBS, don't even go crazy with like all of the overlays and whatever. Just make sure you get your video and audio into the computer and get that in an OBS scene. You know, at the end of the day, that's where it all begins. That's the most important thing. I'm adding new little things over time. Like I just started to add, like if you do the emotes now, you'll see the emotes on screen. I just added that like a week or two ago. I'm testing different things. At first, when my first couple of months of streaming, I think all you saw was the little bar at the bottom with the logo in it. And that was it. Also because it was coming from the ATEM Mini Pro and I couldn't do the other overlays, but that was it. It did not matter for the viewers. They were watching and they were still hearing me mix and seeing me mix. So go for the most basic setup first. Get that to work. From there, you can go on. I started experimenting now where I'm like adding different scenes. So now I'm doing stuff like this where I can just switch because I might want to have something with a little info in there. You know? Let's get this back. Yeah. But not even too much. And I have more overlays going on where I have like my timer and my goal settings, and you see like the alerts, and I have my social media rotator. Those things aren't even that hard, but if you first start streaming, you already have enough to think about with just DJing. So you don't want to have 1,000 things to think about when it comes to like the stream itself. You learn to go with that, but just baby steps. DJ The Realist was good. Good to see you. Question for you is your opinion on the Reloop Elite DVS Serato mixer, and did you or will you be making a video review? Yeah, I actually will be doing a video review. I have one. I actually really like it, but, and that's the big but, compared to my S9 and even the Rain 72, I prefer that workflow because I'm used to it. I'm used to the Pioneer mixers. That's been my go-to forever. I prefer them over the Rain mixers for that as well. I love the onboard effects on the Pioneer, but I'm just used to Pioneer mixers. From years of my 909 going to that S9, that was a natural progression. In the clubs, always playing on 500s, the 600, 800s, the 900 Nexus. So Pioneer. Now, I know if I only had the Elite, I would take that Elite, jump into the studio for 2 weeks, work it all out, see exactly how that one works, and then it would be great. Because it's a great mixer. Don't get me wrong. It's just that a couple of things just are a little bit different compared to how I do it on the Pioneer. So that's not the mixer's fault. That's just my preference. The effects work a little bit different. They have that slider instead of knobs. You can overcome that easily. So yes, I will be doing a video because I have it here. I've probably done like 5, maybe 10 streams with it. I'll bring it back for a stream soon. But overall, like I love the feeling of it. I just noticed like whenever I got to like effects and auto loops, I was like, okay, wait, it's different. It's something I need to get into. Let's see. Once you get everything figured out, it will be cake after that. When it comes to the streams, yeah, most of it, unless you do a lot of experimenting. So every time I try different things with extensions and stuff like that, then that will keep you up. If you do more scenes, more changes, you have to take more things into consideration. But overall, yeah. Once you get the hang of it, it's pretty basic. Until you start to add even more. So now I want to start adding, like, when I switch scenes, I want to get like transition stuff and That's all fun. It doesn't. It's not the most important thing. The most important thing is still your DJing. Mike has trouble with the sound card being recognized by OBS. Okay. And this is your normal sound card, that you use for your other stuff. So are you using this for maybe like audio software, and does that recognize the sound card? Let me know. Okay, so Vinyl Touch is asking the same thing. So does your computer recognize it? So because if other applications on your computer are recognizing it, then we have to look at OBS probably. If the computer itself is not even seeing the audio interface, then something different is going on. Maybe a driver is missing. Okay, so let's see. Mike says, yeah, MacBook Pro recognizes the Tascam mixing board. OBS recognizes by MacBook Pro microphone. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure. So maybe you do need a special driver or something like with Mac. Most of the times it should be just some plug and play. If anyone knows in the chat, hop in. All right, Megawatt, I see you. Yes. Let's see. That's about the sound card as well. What was this? The force. Okay. I bring that up because I had my stream going great, added a scene, and the very next stream was crappy. After a week of troubleshooting, my processor was bogged down by OBS loading all the scenes, even if I wasn't using them. Yeah, I heard Mixmaster G talk about that as well, like that. Or I believe he was saying that, like on Mac, some things are more heavy on the processor compared to on a Windows computer. I don't remember exactly what he said, but he was talking about that. Because I know, like, a lot of times I can have a bunch of things open, and like, I don't know, like, let me see. I don't have too much going on. Like, I have like 5-6 overlays in here. My mic is in here. The camera, I'm recording in OBS while I'm streaming. The CPU is being, it's taking 2.2% of my CPU currently. So yeah. I have scenes that have a little bit more in there, but I mean, like, this computer is just fine with it. But of course, this is my studio computer, so it's made to handle a lot more than just some streaming software. Let's see. So Vinyl Touch, I think Mike just said, like, I think what he's saying is that it doesn't appear in his drop down, so he only sees the mic, the MacBook's mic. I thought that was what he said. Yeah, so Mixmaster G, there you are. Thank you. So Mac OS is not built for OBS. The GPU is not used by OBS Mac. It always relies on your CPU, even if you have an integrated GPU. So that's my thing, of course. Like, I'm using a Windows Studio computer. I have a pretty powerful GPU, which can take a bunch of the tasks away from my CPU, even though my processor is powerful as well. But I think that definitely makes a difference. That was what you were saying, indeed. And I know a lot of you are using your MacBooks for that, so that could be a thing there. DJ The Realist is using Streamlabs Mobile and Twitch Mobile with his Galaxies, and it does very well. I just care about the DJing only, not so much the additional features when it comes to layouts or whatever else. Yeah, and I mean, I agree in the sense that at the end of the day, the DJing comes first. That is the most important thing. You come for the DJ and the way the DJ plays and what the DJ plays. All of the rest is extra. But of course, once you got your DJ thing on lock and that's working, so if your audio and video are coming through, the right way, that's great. Then you can start to think about just production value, adding certain things. Like the reason why I chose to go for the multicam setup is because I wanted to have that overhead shot so people can see what I'm doing. Now, I'm already considering future setups where I might have to get an extra video capture card so I can always have the overhead on, even though I'm switching the other cameras. Right now, I have to switch between. But I need to do one more check in my A10 Mini Pro because there are ways to change the picture-in-picture. But I digress. But production value comes after the DJ thing is on lock. That's the most important thing for sure. AMZ Lambo Guru was good. You're bossing. Do you listen to other DJs? What are you listening for? Track select or skills? Where do you look for other sets to check out? Oh yeah, I'm checking out a ton of DJs on Twitch. I mean, to me that's incredible. Like there's so many DJs that you've heard about, or maybe you see like a clip or two on YouTube like in the past, but you never really get to see their live sets, maybe snippets. Now with especially on Twitch, I've ran into a ton of DJs that I either knew about, heard about, or did not know at all. Found like very dope DJs, DJs that are just okay. So I'm looking for that combo. Of course, like if I'm gonna listen to some DJ, the track selection has to be cool. If I don't like the music, then I'm not gonna listen. If the track selection is there, then I'm looking for the skills as well. Because if it's a DJ who just plays nice music, that's cool. But I prefer to also have like that little extra in there. So I look for a combo of both. Let's see. Okay, Mike says it's recognized by OBS, but no sound is picked up. Sound from OBS is recognized through my MacBook microphone. Okay, it's probably a MacBook setting. I'll leave that up to y'all in the chat because I don't know. Skojo was good. Yes, a lot of techie guys here as well. Indeed. Not just guys, though. Salute to all the queens in here. See, I'll leave that up to y'all. I see that the right people are talking about that. Nash was good. Would you recommend a vinyl or CD set for someone with little experience? I wouldn't recommend one over the other specifically. Now, I don't know. I find that a hard question. Like if you have little experience, that you could start out with both and learn how to do it. Look, a CD set will fit more into what you see in a lot of places. A lot of places will have CDJs and stuff like that. I do feel, depending on what you want to do, if you just want to play, let's say like this, let's bring it back. If you have very little experience, you're just starting out, and you just want to play music, and you're not really thinking about something like turntablism, like juggling and like advanced scratching, I wouldn't even start with a CD set. I would start with a controller or an all-in-one player. That's going to most likely cost you less than an entire setup with 2 players and a mixer, and that will get the job done just fine. If you're just starting out, and with controllers or all-in-ones, you can go from entry level to pretty high-end stuff as well. Let's see. I'm trying to skip over the M1 issues. I'll leave that up to y'all. Yeah, I'll leave that all up to y'all. Let's see. Okay, more people are having the same issues. So that's an issue I haven't heard of before. Vinyl Touch is saying, like, with his M1, he has to, the S9 requires a restart in safe mode and weakening security settings to work. Okay. So yeah, Mixmaster DJ. That's what I was also asking. Is your like audio software recognizing the mixer and is it working? Oh, okay. You haven't checked that yet. Yeah, you need to check that, because if that's not working either, then it's probably going to be some setting in the Mac, or another type of driver is maybe necessary. That could also be the case. Mixmaster G says M1s are drama. I think it all depends on what you're using, though. I mean, I see you say it a lot, though, but I have seen like so many videos of people using audio, photo, and video software without any type of issues. But then again, it's a newer system. Like I believe all of those issues will be solved or get better. But I've just seen so many videos of people using them for like everything except for DJing. So yeah, there might be a thing there. All right. In the meantime, yeah. See, so that's probably it, right? With like you said, with like external non-Apple gear, that's causing a lot of issues. Because like I said, like what I see, like people using it for audio, video, photo editing, you name it, even if it's not all the way ready for Apple yet, it was still working like a charm. But we are dealing with different type of situations indeed. I want to treat my beginning live streams more so as practice sessions, but I'll probably be starting and stopping while DJing to correct and adjust myself. You think this would bore the audience because it's not really a live mix? So first off, if you're just going to start out on Twitch, and if you currently don't have like some major following somewhere, you most likely won't have viewers in the beginning anyway, except for maybe a couple of your friends who tune in. So I don't think you even have to worry about anything like that too much. I don't think that's something you need to take into consideration at first. So I would say just go for that. Now, I don't know if you have to like starting and stopping. Now you're talking about if you're like trying to do a mix and it's not working out, that you're gonna just stop and do the mix again. Because if that's the case, I'm not sure you should do it that way. Like stop the music a bunch of times. That's not stream worthy. Now you could do a practice session and a mix might not totally work out. I think that's not the biggest issue. Even if you like, for instance, you call that stream a practice session, you know? So if I see you now, you currently have, you have 5 followers. So if you go live, those 5 followers will get like a notification that you're streaming. Maybe one is going to tune in. So it's not like you're going to have an audience, and discoverability on Twitch is pretty iffy as well. I mean, if you go to the homepage to see who's streaming, most likely you're gonna see not gonna see a bunch of people. But I don't know. I mean, I see that you do have quite a few views on. Oh no, that's not you. I'm sorry. Why is it showing that? That's someone else. My bad. Okay, so a lot of times if I open Twitch, it's gonna show me who's live now, who I'm following, and then you're probably going to see people who have like a bunch of viewers. I don't get it a lot that you see like people with like 1 viewer on that main page. Let me switch this back. Bang. Yeah, okay, so if you're practicing beat juggling patterns, yeah, if you stream and you just call that your juggle practice or something like that, people will know what it is. It's not going to be interesting for a lot of people, but I don't think you should care about that too much. But make sure that you title it the right way. Because if it's just like you're titling it like a blah blah mix, but you're practicing and stopping, then people who might click on it and tune in, they're gonna be like, what's going on here? But if it's obvious that it's like a practice session, if people choose to tune in for that, then they know what they should expect. But again, like for a lot of people, when they start streaming, viewers are the last thing you're going to have to worry about in the beginning. They're not going to be there, which is actually great when you're just starting out and you want to experiment with DJing and streaming. If you're going to stream for the first time and you have like 100 people watching, yeah. I mean, I've had it happen during streams that something just goes wrong or something happens technically, and I just know that the show has to go on. And then I'm like, okay, so I guess I have to skip that and move that device to the side because I wanted to try something extra. It's not working. Then I'm not going to spend too much time trying to get that to work because there's an audience there and you just got to start the show. All right. I actually opened it up because I wanted to see who's on, what's going on Twitch. So Cleveland Terry is on. I don't know. He's probably been on for a while. I don't know. Let me go into my my little box here. So, okay. Cleveland is on. Loki is playing some. Yeah, we might just tune into Cleveland. Costa Rica says, lost total Wi-Fi connection while streaming once. That was an interesting day. Yep. That's why I do not use Wi-Fi here for the live streams on a cabled connection. I did a couple of live streams during the wintertime from home on the laptop over Wi-Fi, and one time straight from the GoPro. The GoPro Hero 9 can also stream with Wi-Fi, and issues. So now I bought a little USB to Ethernet cable because that laptop I have, the Surface Book 1, it doesn't have an Ethernet port. There's no way to connect like cabled internet. So I got me a little adapter, USB to Ethernet. So now if I have to stream from home from the laptop, I'm still on a wired connection. It makes all the difference in the world. So Mike, yes, that's what Mixmaster G explained that like a little while ago. Your question. Many DJ friends have said OBS is not friendly for Macs, better suited for PCs. Is that true? Yes, it is true. And Mixmaster G explained it because the Mac does not take advantage of its GPU. So if I'm using a Windows computer, which I am, OBS can use my graphics card for a lot of the processing. So that means that the processor, my CPU, doesn't have to do that much work. On Macs, it doesn't. So it's going to use your CPU for all of the things it has to do. And yeah, that will take more. Now, if you have a powerful computer, if you have a good MacBook Pro, it will probably handle it. I mean, a lot of people are streaming from their MacBook, so it works. But it will just take more. Like I said, like if I take a look, like I'm using 2%, 2.2, 2.3% of my processor for OBS right now while I'm streaming and recording in OBS at the same time with overlays. So that means that it's hardly using my processor. And that's also because it can use my graphics card. And that's what Mixmaster G explained. Like it on Macs, it doesn't take advantage of that. Even if you have a CPU with an integrated GPU, integrated graphics card, it still doesn't use it. So it all comes out the processor. But hey, again, there's a lot of people online streaming with their MacBooks. It's not like it doesn't work. It works. Even though all the gamers, and Twitch has, of course, like most of the Twitch people are gamers, they're not on Macs. They're on gaming computers, PCs. That's why they don't have that issue. So I think most streamers on Twitch are actually on Windows computers. The Mac thing is more a thing that you see with a lot of DJs, especially the US DJs coming in, MacBooks. But I know there's more people. I mean, like I was talking just about Cleveland Terry. I know he's using a studio computer as well, like a PC build as well for his streaming setup, and more people do. Yeah. So I think we're going to do Cleveland Terry. I see he has Nick, what's his name, Nick Spinelli on. And I mean, I always feel it's the most logical transition from this stream talking about DJing to switch to another show talking about DJing instead of switching to a DJ. Or the Twitch people would want to, if you prefer to switch to a DJ, we can do that. But I know y'all are in this mindset right now, so it makes more sense to switch to Cleveland. So I think I'm going to do that. So with that, I'm going to just thank all of you, because I actually want to get back to my beats and I have some other work to do. I don't think you've been able to hear that, but I've had this beat on repeat the whole time. Just a sketch right now, but I actually want to continue working on that. Having a lot of fun doing stuff like that, by the way. Is it here? It's in a super basic state right now, so I want to start adding some stuff to it. No, is that not it? I thought I could open it like this. Where are you on? I should be able to share that. Where are you? Where are you? Is that you? No, it's not you. Okay, I wanted to share it, but you can't hear it. Yeah, that's not going to work. I'll probably let you hear. I'll be back we're plugging in on Sunday. I will probably be working on beats. By the way, this week I'll be here streaming on Friday with a Certified Bangers episode, so you can tune in for that as well. So everyone in the chat, I appreciate y'all. All the lurkers just watching and listening, I appreciate you as well. So salute to all of you. So Mike, I see you. Costa Rica, Mo Berry, Chris A, Big V, Queen Caesar, Vinyl Touch, Mo Berry, anyone in here, if I haven't shouted you out now, salute to all of you. And Big V, I'm going to say let's raid Cleveland Terry. Let's go take a look there at the DJ talk going on over there. All right, I'm going to hit the end screen here. And we're going to get ready to check out Cleveland Terry in a couple seconds. All right. Thanks again. See y'all next time. Peace.